Hi, everyone. Thanks for joining and welcome back to Wall Street Silver. Our guest today is my good friend Mike Melissinos of Melissinos Trading. His investment firm employs a systematic trend following approach that is incredibly unique. Mike, how's it been?
It's been good. It's Super Bowl's tomorrow, election day. We'll
It's
see what happens here. It's, looking at these markets every day, being involved in them, obviously, you you can't escape the nonsense, the volatility, the the noise of it all.
right.
Sometimes I envy people who have non-market jobs who aren't really paying attention a whole lot, but it seems to be, gyrating with the what I've been following recently, and again, I don't really know how valid these some of these sites are,
Right.
but one is the electionbettingodds.com,
Oh, I've seen that.
run by John Stossel and someone else, and I'm partial to John Stossel because I believe he still works for Reason. He's part of a libertarian group,
Right.
and I empathize. I'm with those people on a lot of issues. So, but again, I don't know what kind of math they're using to aggregate all these. I think it's betting sites and or polls, and just kind of coming up with an odds figure for all the candidates. And
Yeah.
lately, it's been markets down, which means Trump odds down, and the
Right.
opposite.
Yeah.
You, you know, um,
Do you see a lot of
Go ahead.
stuff that's happening like because the gold and silver markets they're making these tremendous moves in the past 2-3 months, and now gold's hitting all new time highs. Where do you see gold and silver going specifically as the election plays out, the global economy?
I suspect that the markets are already pricing in, because both candidates are pretty spendy. They want to just spend a ton of money, and the the deficits are going to blow out
Oh yeah.
under each candidate. So I think the markets are saying, well, it doesn't really matter which one of these guys get in, guys or gal, get in. They're aligned on these issues. They just want to just keep pushing kick the can down the road, deficits to hell. Who cares? Just keep spending
Right.
to expand that government overreach and appease the people, yada, yada, yada. Forget about austerity. Forget about cutting back entitlements. Forget about all those things.
There's about $15 trillion worth of physical gold in the world sitting there costing money rather than being used is just absolutely insane. Monetary Metals is bringing gold back into the financial world, putting gold to productive use right now. The problem with gold, of course, in physical form is that it's heavy, it's cumbersome, it's not particularly easy to ship, and it costs money to store in a protected manner. This platform Monetary Metals created is a proven concept and allows gold to be put to productive use. So instead of sitting there costing you money, it's actually in use earning you money.
Learn how you can earn 2 to 5% in our leasing program and how accredited investors can earn up to 12% on silver paid in silver. This advertisement is not investment or financial advice. Minimum investment applies.
We're
Right.
just going to pedal to the metal and leave it for the next one. So I think the markets saw that a long time ago, and started to, it started to show up in the prices. So, I'm long both. I'm along a bunch of metals now.
Nice.
Palladium, platinum, copper, uh, tin, and zinc.
Oh, really? Even
Um,
zinc.
yes. Those two are base metals, but copper as well. But the others, all precious metals. Who knows? They're acting much better than say Bitcoin and Ethereum in the crypto
Right.
space right now. So who knows? Return to the old guard. It's been a long time, um, that we've seen some good moves out of this space in general. I think, especially gold and silver. I know they rallied a little bit during the inflation period after COVID, but
Right.
but but it's once things make new highs, you just never know because they're in uncharted territory now. And a lot of problem. This is kind of a trading, psychological tactic, if you will, is that if you're looking at gold or silver or whatever chart, and it's right near the top right of the of the of the border,
Right.
you think, oh, okay, well, it's got some more room, but you are psychologically bound by how the chart looks.
Right.
Meanwhile, if you just expand the scale and said you expanded it to 50,000, say on gold, you'd be like, oh yeah, it's got all this room. It can run up there, sure.
Right. Right. Right.
Um, so it's just kind of a trick that and kind of a limiting fact of looking at charts all the time. But once you're breaking into new highs, there's really no, at least for technical trend following traders, we always know there's no limits to these things. It could be the moon. And I'm sure there's some fundamental trader investor out there that can put a appropriate price on gold and this
Oh yeah.
and that, but you just never know. These markets go further than anyone thinks, and who knows if we get into a jam in the economy
Right.
and they want to lower rates again. Everyone says we can't lower rates back down to not say zero, but you need to be open for that. Like you really do. You really need
Right.
to be open for back to 2% rates um, or some other whatever other scenario because uh, these markets are crazy and you just don't know.
Yeah,
It's just you don't want
absolutely.
to limit yourself by your own imagination. That's not
Right.
smart.
Yeah, I
Yeah.
totally agree with you, Mike. And you nailed that because like you're looking at if we are if it can it is it even possible to get down to those rates like we had before with the inflationary pressures that's up in the markets? Like, is it even possible? Will they just try to do it anyway?
I think it is possible because the deficits are getting so big and there might be pushback to where, all
Right.
right, let's go back to the monetary easing, not so much the fiscal. Who knows? Who
Oh yeah.
knows what they can come up with? We're in this area where there's no checks and balances. There's no one like, you know, the voters aren't saying, "Hey, enough." They're not
No.
saying that.
No, nobody
So
is.
so you just don't know what the heck's going to happen, what can go on, and it's pretty scary because someone's going to pay where you know like through inflation. We've talked about it on the last couple shows, but I don't give a I don't care what they're saying. It's 2%. It was 8. Now it's down to 2. Hey
Right.
man, like eggs by me are $13. You know,
That's crazy.
yeah, no, come on. You get a tin of strawberries. It's $9.
Oh yeah, that's
Like whoa,
insanity.
whoa, whoa, what's going on? You know. So eventually, this has to, people are going to run out of room in their credit cards, and they're going to say, uh oh, they're going to have to default, or they'll just get some new cards, like, or they'll be forgiven in that, like some of that debt. But there's going to be
Right.
losses somewhere, and you just don't know what kind of contagion or how much it can spread. We always think it's going to stay, nice and orderly because the markets are rational and everyone just take their loss and go home. But you just never know. You never know what can happen here and how fast and how much it can spread. But yeah, that's going to be something to watch with the election day tomorrow. I think the odds are still favoring Trump,
Right.
and I think the markets seem to like that more. But but that's all conversation. The trend is the trend. It's still going up. We can still go higher before we go into what Goldman and some other
Right.
research shops are calling for now, which for a lost decade based on the extreme valuations and things like that.
Yeah,
That's
because
not
if
my area of expertise,
right.
but hey, yeah,
Because if Trump becomes in office, they're still going to print trillions. If Kamala's in office, they're still going to print trillions. So it's there's still the underlying core issue is still there. They're still printing trillions. The deficit keeps
yes,
increasing. Yeah, the issue is still at hand.
yes, and I I suspect, there's always a wild card. You always think, okay, we know what's going on here. We got the deficit, we got the election, we got the economy. Okay, but it's what we're not thinking about that's out there in left field
Right. Yeah,
that
yeah. I
can
see what you're
swoop
saying.
in, that black swan, term that
Right.
got popular years ago.
Bank run, or whatever it is.
Yeah, you just don't know. And someone does something stupid over there in Russia or Middle East or whatever. Who
Oh yeah.
knows what that could spur on.
Yeah.
But um, my positioning in the markets right now is pretty strange. As a trend trader, I got used to, at least over the last decade or so, this risk on, risk off
Right.
environment where it was all kind of one big trade all the time. You were flip flopping and you got all the signals around the same time, which
Right.
is
Right.
scary because, it's hard to manage risk um, in those scenarios where you think, oh, I got 50, 60 different positions, but no, you really got two, you know, and, and they're all called different things, but you really have two positions. So it's could be scary, but now it's weird, just to disclose my positions. I mentioned the metals, mostly long the metals. I have two shorts, nickel and lead. But energies, I'm short.
Really, yeah, because of what's going to happen soon.
I have a few shorts there in carbon emissions and heating oil and London gas oil.
Right.
Um, in agriculture, mostly short there as well.
Right.
And mostly long soft commodities. So still long coffee, cocoa, orange juice.
Sugar.
Um, Not long sugar yet, but I
No.
bet I'm longer term. So I bet some shorter term, medium term guys are,
Right.
because that's getting close too. Maybe same with lumber, but that's been going down for a while. And then currencies are weird too. It's all mixed. It's very strange. Short the euro, short the yen, short the Swiss franc.
Right.
Um, but it's not like I'm long emerging markets. Like no. So I'm long the dollar against Singapore, against Mexico, against Brazil, against
Absolutely.
China. So it's really strange. Like I can't make sense of what's happening here, which is great because that tends to be what starts a lot of trends. Like what's going on here? We don't
Right.
understand. And then once everyone understands it, that's usually the end of the move.
Yeah.
So I think we're in this kind of confusing period, which is uh, you know, sorry, my son's yelling if you can
No
hear.
worries. No worries.
Um, yeah. And then also still long stocks. I mean that's pretty
Yeah,
easy.
of
Everything's
course.
going up still there, all across the globe. And then pretty mixed on fixed income as well. So
Mhm.
long some government bond futures, short some others. So it's just
Right.
like I don't
It's all
I don't
over the
know.
place.
It's all over the place. I can't really make sense of it. Like in terms of conversation, it's hard to understand kind of what's going on right now, which is generally a good thing, I think, for the fuel for these moves. Whatever
Right.
happens, we can get some moves here
Yeah,
with when there's
absolutely.
confusion. But yeah.
Yeah, no, you absolutely nailed it, Mike. And again, like as always, it's such a huge pleasure you coming down, especially talking about everything that's happening in the markets. Gold, silver. Where can people connect with you before you head off? Where can people connect with you?
I'm on Twitter on M Melissinos. You can just look up my name too, Michael Melissinos. It's a mouthful, so you got to look to the show notes to
Yeah, I will.
copy and paste, copy and paste that over. Don't try to spell it.
Yeah, I'll put the links
Eh,
in the description and below.
yeah,
What other places other than Twitter?
LinkedIn as well,
LinkedIn.
all over there, and then I have a website too. I actually have a website where it's all about my investment management business, and I have a Substack as well. So I kind of write. I don't write to any really regular cadence. I kind of write when I
Right.
got something to say.
Yeah.
So I'm in a lull kind of right now because I'm just kind of watching
What's
and
happening? Yeah, yeah.
gathering my thoughts, if you will. I'm sure I'll have a lot to say over the next week. We'll see
Well,
what
I'd
happens here.
absolutely love to have you back on, Mike,
Yeah.
as the election takes place, as
Ugh.
after. I'd love to have you back on. But everyone, thank you for watching Wall Street Silver. Please hit the subscribe button, and I'll put the links in the description below for Mike so everyone can connect with you. But then, Mike, yeah, thank you so much for coming down.
And I hope you have a spare room open, because if it gets crazy here in New York, I'm coming out there to
Yeah, you got to come.
quiet Canada.
Yeah, you got to come
At least
down
for
here.
the time being.
Yeah, we need
Yeah.
just Trudeau is just yeah.
Well, yeah, right.
Yeah,
Well,
yeah.
that's a whole nother
That's,
conversation.
that's another
Yeah.
episode. All right, okay.
Yeah.
Thank you so much, Mike, and yeah, thank you everyone for watching.
Thanks, Evan.